In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on January 1st, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Texas versus Arizona State. Arizona State will face off against Texas, which serves as the quarterfinals for the college football playoff. On Wednesday, January 1st, Texas enters the game as the number 5 seed with a record of 12-2. The Longhorns are coming off an impressive 14-point victory over number 12 Clemson in the first round of the playoffs. On the other hand, Arizona State, ranked number 4, earned a first-round bye. With a record of 11-2, the Sun Devils are the Big 12 Conference champions, having easily defeated Iowa State earlier in December to secure the title. After their dominant 38-24 victory over Clemson in the first round of the college football playoff, the Texas Longhorns advance to the quarterfinals, where they will now face the Big 12 champion Arizona State Sun Devils in the Peach Bowl on New Year's Day. Texas continued their offensive explosion against Clemson, racking up an impressive 494 yards while averaging 8.4 yards per pass and 6.1 yards per rush. Clemson, though unsuccessful in securing the win, was able to put up over 400 yards of total offense, primarily due to the strong performance of quarterback Cade Klubnik. However, the Tigers' ground game struggled to find rhythm, averaging just 3.2 yards per carry, particularly without Phil Maffa at full strength. Arizona State, which was idle during the first round, had a standout performance in the Big 12 championship, where they outgained Iowa State 467-341. The Sun Devils averaged 12.2 yards per pass and 6.9 yards per rush, led by star running back Cam Sketibo, who rushed for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns on 16 carries, demonstrating his exceptional skill and efficiency. While Texas may be considered the more talented team on paper, the Sun Devils appear well equipped to keep the game competitive. Arizona State's methodical approach to the game, heavily reliant on their strong running game with Sketibo one of the toughest and most efficient running backs in the country, allows them to control the pace of play. The Sun Devils finished the season ranked in the top 30 for rush rate outside of garbage time over the final 5 weeks, and their pace of play ranks 110th nationally against Football Bowl subdivision opponents. By limiting possessions and slowing the game down, Arizona State makes it challenging for the Longhorns to cover a 2-score spread, especially in a high-stakes playoff setting. Additionally, Texas has had notable struggles with turnovers this season. The Longhorns are ranked 99th in giveaways per game, averaging 2 turnovers per game over their last 3 contests. Quarterback Quinn Ewers, who has thrown 10 interceptions and committed 17 turnover-worthy plays despite missing 2 games, is a key factor in these issues. Comparatively, Arizona State ranks 3rd nationally in giveaways per game, averaging just 0.6 turnovers per game against FBS opponents. This, combined with their controlled, run-heavy offense, gives them an edge in minimizing mistakes. Quarterback Sam Leavitt of Arizona State has been notably efficient, with only 5 interceptions and 4 turnover-worthy plays, highlighting the Sun Devils' emphasis on taking care of the ball. A disciplined, run-heavy team like Arizona State receiving double-digit points in a game of this magnitude certainly draws attention, and when factoring in the Sun Devils' ability to protect the ball, they become even more intriguing. For those interested in trends, Arizona State has been solid as an underdog this season, boasting a 4-2 straight-up record and a 4-2 record against the spread in such scenarios. In contrast, Texas has struggled to cover the spread as favorites, going just 1-3 when favored by 13 points or fewer. With expectations for a low-scoring game, Texas offense will have little room for error to cover a 2-touchdown spread. Arizona State's strong rushing attack, led by Cam Sketibo, will likely control the clock and momentum throughout the game. While Arizona State may not emerge victorious, they certainly have the ability to keep the game close on a neutral site. The Sun Devils will enter this game with confidence, bolstered by previous big wins, including their dominant conference championship victory over Iowa State and regular season triumphs over Brigham Young University and Kansas State. Texas defense has been the primary factor in their success this year, and while their offense has been solid, it's unlikely to blow out the Sun Devils in this matchup. so the Arizona State Sun Devils to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Scoring in this game could prove more challenging than expected, as both Texas and Arizona State rank in the top 35 for both scoring and total defense throughout the entire season. Additionally, both teams have been particularly effective in scoring situations during the latter half of the season, ranking in the top 35 in points per scoring opportunity since Week 9. They've allowed fewer than 3.5 points per opposing possession inside the 40-yard line, demonstrating their ability to tighten up when it matters most. Big plays may also be hard to come by in this matchup, given that both Texas and Arizona State are among the top 30 in limiting plays of 20 yards or more. As mentioned earlier, Arizona State is a very methodical team. Their run-heavy offense ranks 110th in the nation for seconds per play and is outside the top 70 in plays per game. This style of play seems to work well for them, as they can control the clock and manage the tempo. Texas, on the other hand, may not be inclined to push the pace of the game due to their issues with turnovers. The Sun Devils will look to continue running the ball with Scativo, helping keep their defense rested and ready. This approach has been successful for Arizona State, as they've averaged over 32 minutes of time of possession per game, ranking 17th nationally. While Texas does not run the ball as frequently as Arizona State, they come off a strong rushing performance in the first round of the playoffs. That being said, Arizona State has been excellent against the run, ranking second in the Big 12 and 22nd nationally in run defense. On the other side, Texas ranks 7th nationally in expected points added per rush allowed. With both teams focusing on controlling the ground game, it's unlikely that either quarterback will need to take center stage on Wednesday. Both teams will likely prioritize ball security over taking risks through the air. The under is 3 to 2 to 1 when Arizona State has been an underdog this season. The under is 4 to 2 to 1 when Texas has played games on the road or at neutral sites. Additionally, the under is 6 to 2 to 1 when the total has been set at 50 points or higher in Texas games. The Longhorns' defense is one of the best in the nation, which should further limit scoring opportunities. Given the way both teams play and their respective struggles in the red zone, it's difficult to envision a high-scoring game. As a result, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Ohio State versus Oregon. The Ohio State Buckeyes will face off against the Oregon Ducks on New Year's Day in the college football playoff quarterfinals at the iconic Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. This highly anticipated matchup between two powerhouse programs from the Big Ten Conference will serve as a rematch of their earlier encounter this season. In that game, the number 1 ranked Ducks narrowly defeated the Buckeyes 32-31 in a thrilling contest at Autzen Stadium in Oregon. Ohio State, coming off a decisive 42-17 victory over Tennessee in the first round of the playoffs, enters this game with an 11-2 record on the season. Meanwhile, Oregon enters the Rose Bowl with an undefeated 13-0 record, having earned a first-round bye as the number 1 seed in the tournament. The Ducks also clinched the Big Ten championship in their debut season in the conference, defeating Penn State 45-37 in a thrilling championship game. Although the opening round of the college football playoff featured some one-sided contests, the quarterfinal matchups are generating immense excitement, and rightfully so. Among these, perhaps the most anticipated game of the season is the Rose Bowl rematch between Ohio State and Oregon. Back in October, these two teams squared off in a game that delivered an instant classic and arguably stood out as the most memorable and entertaining matchup of the regular season. Despite holding the top seed in the playoff bracket, Oregon was not given the most favorable matchup based on the seeding, which has led to an interesting dynamic heading into this game. In fact, Dan Lanning's Oregon squad is considered the underdog in this contest, a rare position for a team seeded higher in the college football playoff. Ohio State is coming off what was undoubtedly its best performance of the season, while Oregon remains the only undefeated team left in the hunt for the national title. As a result, it's entirely possible that the winner of this game will ultimately go on to claim the national championship. Ohio State displayed an impressive performance in its dominant victory over Tennessee last week, excelling on both sides of the ball. However, the Buckeyes have been consistently dominant throughout the season when playing with a positive game script, which is not a surprising trend. Quarterback Will Howard has typically performed at a high level when playing from ahead and without being under pressure in the pocket. The Buckeyes' offense looks nearly unstoppable when the talented running back duo of Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins is able to break through the second level of the defense, and when wide receivers Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka are given room to operate in open space. Ohio State boasts a loaded roster, one that has the potential to contend for the national title. That said, the team is not without its flaws. The Buckeyes are still dealing with several key injuries along the offensive line, a unit that was healthy during the first meeting between these two teams, and they have notable vulnerabilities in their defensive secondary. Additionally, head coach Ryan Day remains a figure of skepticism when it comes to performing in the biggest moments, particularly in high-stakes games like this one. On the other hand, I do not share the same concerns when it comes to Oregon. Under the leadership of experienced quarterback Dylan Gabriel, the Ducks' offense has been one of the most potent units in the country all season. Oregon has averaged more than 7 yards per play in Big Ten competition and ranks among the top 5 teams nationally in several key metrics, including expected points added per rush, expected points added per pass, and overall success rate this season. Furthermore, the return of star wide receiver Tez Johnson from injury has proven to be a game-changer for the Ducks' offense. In the Big Ten championship game against Penn State, the Ducks targeted Johnson early and often, with great success. During the regular season, Oregon averaged more than 3 points per drive when Johnson was on the field, and he played a critical role in their victory over Ohio State earlier this season, hauling in 7 receptions for 75 yards and a touchdown. While Ohio State's talent across all positions is undeniably impressive, it's also worth noting that the Buckeyes had to showcase some of their best offensive performances of the season last week. Given the caliber of both teams, it's clear that Oregon's coaching staff, led by Lanning and offensive coordinator Will Stein, will be extremely well prepared for this high-stakes game, and fans can expect a few strategic adjustments from the Ducks' game plan. The narrative around Ohio State has shifted following their home loss to Michigan to close the regular season, with many questioning the team's ability to perform in critical moments. A dominant victory over a Tennessee team that struggled offensively has somewhat revived the Buckeyes' standing. However, the Oregon Ducks present a vastly different challenge than the Volunteers. Oregon enters this game with the nation's 6th best scoring offense and the 12th best red zone offense. In their first meeting, Oregon's offense was able to overpower Ohio State, finishing with 341 passing yards and no turnovers. In fact, the Ducks even outgained the Buckeyes on the ground, rushing for 155 yards compared to Ohio State's 141. On the season, Oregon has failed to score fewer than 24 points in all but one game, a narrow 16-13 win over Wisconsin. Meanwhile, Ohio State has scored 21 points or fewer in 3 of its last 6 regular season games. While the Buckeyes are known for their defensive prowess, Oregon's defense is not far behind, ranking 9th nationally in total defense. However, the Ducks will need to improve upon their performance against Penn State, particularly in defending the run. The first game between these two teams was decided in the final minutes, with Oregon narrowly escaping with a 1-point victory at home. This rematch has the potential to be just as close. Oregon boasts the fastest offense Ohio State has faced all season, while the Buckeyes have the toughest defense the Ducks will encounter. A key difference between these two teams could be in field goal kicking, where Oregon ranks 32nd in accuracy, while Ohio State is ranked just 97th. In a close contest, that small edge in special teams could prove decisive. This matchup is shaping up to be an intense, back-and-forth contest that will likely come down to the final moments. So, the Oregon Ducks to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. To begin, it's important to recognize that Oregon's offense has been a constant source of explosive plays all season, particularly with Tez Johnson in the lineup. I fully expect that trend to continue in this matchup. In fact, with Johnson on the field, the Ducks' explosive play rate has hovered around 20%, and his ability to draw coverage will open up opportunities for other receivers. This should especially benefit Evan Stewart, who had his most impressive performance of the season in the first meeting between these teams, as well as players like Treshaun Holden, Terrence Ferguson, and Kenyon Sadek in the slot. Ohio State's defense, statistically one of the best in the nation, has earned its reputation with strong performances throughout the season. That said, the Buckeyes have only faced an offense of Oregon's caliber once this year, and we all saw how that game played out. On the offensive side, Ohio State ranks 4th in expected points added per play and 6th in points per drive, meaning they should be more than capable of compensating for any mistakes their defense might make. Oregon's defense struggled at times against Penn State, particularly at the second level, and they will face a major challenge this week against Ohio State's impressive skill position players. In the first meeting between these teams, the total points easily surpassed the over-under line, with the two offenses providing too much speed and firepower to be contained. Despite both defenses ranking in the top 10 for scoring defense, the offenses have consistently found ways to move the ball. Oregon has only failed to score at least 24 points once this season, even putting up 32 points against Ohio State State earlier this year, the Ducks had no trouble scoring against Penn State's top-ranked defense, and the Buckeyes also impressed with a 41-point performance against Tennessee's formidable defense. Ohio State will likely look to exploit Oregon's 63rd ranked run defense, while the Ducks will aim to replicate their 340-plus passing yards from the first meeting. In the initial matchup between these teams, the combined score reached 63 points in a 32-31 victory for Oregon. Looking at the baseline statistics, both teams boast top 10 offenses in the nation. Oregon averages 38 points per game, while Ohio State isn't far behind at 38 points per game. A particularly striking statistic is that both quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel and Will Howard, have completion percentages of 73.2%. The coaches and quarterbacks for both teams excel at designing and executing high-percentage passing plays, which allow their immensely talented receivers to make big plays. With both offenses running on all cylinders, I expect a sharp and crisp performance from each side in this game. Given the favorable conditions in Pasadena and the fast track, fans should be ready for a high-scoring, fast-paced matchup. Expect quick scoring drives to be the norm, as both teams have an abundance of offensive skill. Given the talent on both sides, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Notre Dame versus Georgia. It's the quarterfinals of the college football playoff, and one of the few remaining independent programs in college football is set to face off against a powerhouse from the Southeastern Conference. On Wednesday night, the number 7 Notre Dame Fighting Irish will battle the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs in the All-State Sugar Bowl, with the winner advancing to the semifinals. Notre Dame earned their spot in this game with a solid 27-17 victory over number 10 Indiana on December 20th in their first-round matchup, covering the spread as 6.5-point favorites. On the other side, Georgia secured their position with a thrilling 22-19 overtime win over number 2 Texas in the Southeastern Conference Championship game on December 7th. Historically, Georgia has dominated the series between these two teams, winning all 3 of their previous matchups, including a 23-17 victory in the most recent meeting on September 21, 2019. Despite losing several key players, such as lineman Jordan Bodlow, Boubacar Traore, and the influential Mills, as well as cornerback Benjamin Morrison, Notre Dame has continued to perform at a high level, maintaining a strong defensive unit. They currently rank first in the nation in team passing efficiency defense, turnovers gained, and defensive touchdowns. The Fighting Irish have shown resilience and adaptability, with players like Gabe Rubio and Donovan Hinnish stepping up when needed, and the return of Howard Cross III further strengthens their already formidable defensive front. Their defensive performance will be critical in this game, especially as they face off against a Georgia offense now led by backup quarterback Gunnar Stockton. Offensively, Notre Dame initially struggled this season as quarterback Riley Leonard worked to develop chemistry with his receiving core. However, in recent weeks, the team has found a rhythm and gained considerable momentum. Leonard, a dual-threat quarterback, has made significant strides, throwing for 8 touchdowns in his last 4 games while boasting an impressive 72% completion rate. His ability to extend plays with his legs adds another dynamic to Notre Dame's offense, and with running backs Jeremiah Love and Jardarian Price providing a powerful ground game, the Fighting Irish have developed a balanced and effective attack. Considering the challenges Georgia has faced against mobile quarterbacks like Jalen Milroe and Haynes King, Leonard's mobility could play a pivotal role in this game. Additionally, Notre Dame enters this matchup battle-tested, with significant victories over teams such as Virginia, number 18 Army, Southern California, and number 9 Indiana in recent weeks. This game is shaping up to be a tough challenge for both teams as they take the field. Notre Dame has been solid on both sides of the ball, and they have won 11 consecutive games, but they will be tested by a stout Georgia defense. On the other hand, Georgia is playing without starting quarterback Carson Beck, forcing backup Gunnar Stockton, who has limited experience, into the starting role. The Bulldogs have struggled with their running game throughout the season, and without a proven quarterback, it's difficult to envision them generating a significant offensive output against a strong Notre Dame defense. So the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The under has been a strong trend in games involving Georgia, as they have stayed under the total in 4 consecutive games since 2022 when they have had a rest advantage. Similarly, Notre Dame has stayed under the total in 2 of their last 2 games as an underdog, dating back to the start of last season. Given Gunnar Stockton's lack of experience and Riley Leonard's challenges as a passer under pressure, it's reasonable to expect both offenses to lean heavily on their ground games for the majority of this matchup. Opposing offenses have had some success running against these defenses, but both Notre Dame and Georgia excel at limiting explosive runs. For context, both teams are tied at 32nd nationally in runs allowed of at least 10 yards, giving up fewer than 4 such runs per game. Additionally, both teams are excellent at keeping opponents out of the end zone in scoring situations, allowing fewer than 3.5 points per scoring opportunity, and permitting touchdowns on less than 55% of red zone trips. Notre Dame's defense has been one of the best in the nation, ranking first in passing efficiency defense and turnovers gained, and they have allowed an impressive 14 points per game, which is the third best in the country. Their ability to disrupt passing plays, force turnovers, and contain a quarterback like Stockton, who they now have film on, should limit Georgia's ability to score a significant number of points. On the other hand, while Notre Dame's offense has become more balanced in recent weeks, they still heavily rely on their running game, which ranks 11th nationally with an average of 222.4 rushing yards per game. Although Riley Leonard has made noticeable improvements in his connection with his receivers, the passing game remains relatively modest, ranking 100th in the nation. Meanwhile, Georgia's defense, though not as dominant as Notre Dame's, remains tough and physical, particularly in the front seven. Their ability to generate pressure on the quarterback and shut down the running game, combined with their reliable secondary, should make it challenging for Notre Dame to break off big plays through the air. Furthermore, Georgia's offense, under the leadership of Stockton, despite his competitiveness and mobility, lacks the consistency and cohesion of a fully healthy starting unit. Georgia has stayed under the total in 7 of their 13 games this season. The Bulldogs have also stayed under the total in 5 of their 7 games that weren't played in Athens, including 2 out of 3 neutral site games. Notre Dame ranks 3rd in the nation in scoring defense, and with the uncertainty surrounding Stockton in his first career start, particularly under the bright lights of the college football playoff, it's hard to predict a high-scoring affair. The Fighting Irish will face their own challenges against Georgia's tough defense, which will likely keep their offensive output in check as well. After witnessing how Notre Dame stifled quarterback Curtis Rourke in their first-round playoff victory, it's difficult to imagine a high-scoring game between two teams with backup quarterbacks. This game is expected to fall short of the projected total. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.